What's going on, traders? Let's take a look at XLM this morning. XLM, Stellar Lumens, ticker symbol XLM USD, daily chart, tradingview.com. Share a couple of my thoughts here on the chart, kind of how I see it. Maybe a couple scenarios playing out here moving forward. This thing's been doing pretty well. Big breakout past some important resistance levels. Currently trading at up 3.9%, 0.006 cents. Looks like we're at a 16.2820 price here, according to the Kraken data. So let's take a quick step back, then we'll move forward here. Price respecting all of our levels down here below the market. So we have 9.9396, 10 on the money, and then 104.6, all 1, 2, 3, 4, all within here. Big breakout after support was found at 9.6400, moved up. Slight pause here at the 13.1200 level, and then continuation to the upside. So we're going to take a look back at the chart on what what has happened in the past when we get breakouts like this. So if we take a look back in here, we have this big breakout on the chart past some major resistance. So this is going back to 2020. What a great time in the world that was. Major resistance here. Big breakout. Pulled back, back tested that resistance level, and then took off for a couple more legs to the upside. We could do something like this. We could take the swing high there to the swing low. We could move that over. Ultimately, the top came in for this big leg here at the 4236 up there at 80 cents. Now, keep in mind what was going on with Bitcoin at that time and the overall market. You know, Bitcoin is certainly not trending lower as something like XLM is going from 10 cents up to 80 cents. So keep that in mind. But that is something you can, sometimes going left on the chart and trying to find similar looking patterns, price action can kind of help. And then throwing some fibs up there and just some normal resistance and support. There's no guarantee it's going to repeat itself, but a lot of the times markets do and charts do repeat themselves. So if we take a look at where we're at now, we have a big break past resistance, basically at the 11.7, 12 cent area. Big run up. Now notice that this green dotted line here is basically at the lower end of this range here. So this was support back in 2022, and right now it's acting as resistance. It's nice to see the price above this area here, which is basically that 16 cent area, 10 to 16 cents. So we had the big breakout. If the markets repeated themselves like they did back in, or a similar action from 2020, we could see a pullback definitely to 13 cents, potentially even lower down to give or take this 11 to 12 cent area. That's what happened over here. Big breakout, very sharp pullback. Notice that 1200 area right here is still in play. Pulled back to that area, actually pulled back quite a bit lower, and then went on to make another higher high and leg up. And that pullback was from the high to basically, that was a month and a couple weeks, 40 plus days, give or take. So we're only a couple days into this pullback here. So let's see, if we went 40 days, that puts us probably into the end of August, So keep that in mind. You could have a couple weeks here of some negative looking price action, but it's all pretty normal. And then we went on to make another leg up. So if we took the fibs, remember back here, we took this swing high to the swing low, and that gave us the 4236 target up there. If we take, you could take a couple different highs and a couple different lows, depending on how you look at the chart. But we're just going to use basically this high here around 11, and we're going to use this low here around like 7.5 cents. Very rough TA here, but kind of giving you an idea of what could play out. Doesn't mean it's going to, but just, everybody looks at the chart slightly different. So we'll take this swing high here, and we will take that swing low, give or take, right there. So if the stars aligned and things are a simulation and this happens, we could get up to, according to that swing high and that swing low, would be a 44 cent, give or take a few cents, XLM, which is the 4236, which over here is where that market topped out, right around that 80-cent mark, using this swing high and that swing low, because we were looking at that breakout for an example. So if that all plays out right up here at the 44 cent area, we had resistance in there over here back in 2021. Keep in mind, though, the market could, one, not even do this, two, stop at any of these other levels. The 2.6, the 3.6, that would be a 22, a 34 cent XLM. So you got to be flexible in these markets depending on how you are, what your overall goals are. If you're a long-term holder, years and years and years, you probably don't mind or care at all about all these fluctuations. You just look to buy when the markets are in the dumps and the news is very negative. If you're trying to, scalp or trade these markets, then, maybe you dive in a little deeper here. But if that's the case, you probably should have been buying, a couple weeks ago, if not longer. So there was plenty of opportunity when the markets were in the dumps here. And then when you get these big breakouts, you're already positioned quite well. So that's my thoughts here on XLM. We could get a very sharp pullback. I just put out an XRP video, prepare for disappointment, as I think it's 82 or 84 cents, something along those lines, is some pretty major resistance right now. And we'll see how long that does last as resistance. That might be the top, like just period, might be the top. Or it might only be a couple days, but there's no getting past the point that that is a level of resistance until the market can prove itself and get above that. That is the top for right now. And it looks similar to this chart, but it's obviously at a much higher price. So if we saw similar action, we could get a pullback, basically to the top end of that range, which is like 11, give or take 11.5 cents, or potentially even further down here to like 10.5, give or take. Keeping in mind, 13.12 is a level as well. Also keeping in mind, like I said, there's a lot of things to look at here on the chart, depending on how far you want to go. This is our high. This is a higher low, but this is a lower high. So we're in a little bit of a neutral stage here, because if this market can't print another higher high, then more than likely it's going to print a lower low. So that would give us a total change in trend. So we would like to see a higher high, but that doesn't mean that we will. So that is my thoughts on XLM. Couple key takeaways is we could get a sharp pullback. Bitcoin looks like it's getting ready to move higher once again. I mean, it is today, but overall it might get back into that mid, slightly below 31K. So we'll see if money's going into Bitcoin. Might take a pause here on XLM and XRP. My thoughts, though, like I said, if you throw the fibs up here and you're willing to hold through some of this volatility, we could be into a 40, what was the price there? 44 or so cent XLM, but more than likely a pullback before something like that takes place. As I say, keep your eye on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts to tank, you're not going to see XLM and XRP completely skyrocket. At the end of a cycle, we've seen that where Bitcoin makes a massive run, tops out, money flows from Bitcoin into altcoins. But I don't think we're in that kind of market right now. Bitcoin does extremely well. I think that just overall, XLM and altcoins will do good also. So that's pretty much my thoughts. I don't have any exact price targets above the market. Like I said, I got that 13,200 below. But if we throw the fibs up there, I mean, you have the 2.6 there at 22. 34 is the 3.6, and then 44 is the 4.2. But you could just take a look back here, and I call it the boxing method. If I can find the correct tool, give me one moment here. Don't know where it is. There it is. You can draw these rectangle boxes around ranges. So right here we have a range. That would be a range. We have another range kind of in here, not perfect. So when price is coming up from below or coming down from above, it's floors, ceilings, and floors. So as price all through here was trading back up to that 10.46, that is the lower end of this box. So within this box, it's the floor, but outside of that box, it's the ceiling. So it bumped its head on resistance and then finally broke through when the SEC came out Judge Torres came out for that XRP, not a security ruling. So that was the catalyst that got it back in. So as price gets back into this range here, you know, like I said, that 13,1200 is the resistance. So we could pull back to there before turning that into support, before turning that into a floor of support and moving higher. So you have this area up here and so on and so forth. So I know it's a lot, but that's kind of how I'm looking at this thing. I don't hold XLM. I used to buy it and sell it. Don't hold it, but that's kind of my thoughts. So yeah, let me know what you think. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback in these markets. And hey, I'm an XRP bull, so hopefully I'm wrong. But there's some pretty good resistance showing up right now. And I think a little bit of a shakeout wouldn't be a bad thing for the markets. And boy, you start to see some red candles on these ISO 222 or 2022 coins. People get bearish extremely fast. And the Bitcoin maxis come out and crush all that. So anything they can feed on in a red candle for the XRPs and XLMs, they sure do. Let me know your price targets on XLM, and I will try to do a better job here keeping track of this thing. But like I said, I don't own it, so I don't spend too much time and energy looking at it. I spend more looking at the stuff that I have a vested interest in. That's just how I do it. All right, guys, trading at 16, up 4.1. If this thing can break this high here, so that is the high of last Thursday. Today's Thursday, I believe, too. Last high of last Thursday, the 13th of July. That high was 197. Then this thing is ready to, probably get up to here, this 24-25 cent range. But until that high is broken, the scale, if you had a scale here, an equal weighted scale, and you were right in the center, the scale is flipped right now. There's more weight on the price moving lower right now than there is higher. Unless that high is broken, then the scale flips, and there's more of a chance of, us making, continuing up to that next major resistance level than going lower. So we'll see here. Like I said, we could be in a change in trend until we break that high and make higher highs. You guys have a good one. Thanks for hanging around. It's a long video, but sometimes I just get rambling here. All right, take care.